Okay guys, what we thought we'd do today was just do a little introduction on some basic primers and then maybe have a look at some data sheets. So the big question, how do we get a decent finish on modern day cars? You've all seen the flashy paint jobs on most vehicles. Well, guess what? It all starts with decent preparation. Start with a basic alloy wheel and do the preparation and the primers involved in that. Okay guys, let's have a look at the common primers used in the vehicle refinishing trade. First off, you might think, why am I wearing a onesie? But it's really important that you wear the appropriate PPE, whether it be just your standard overalls and then your paint overalls when you're actually applying it. Boots obviously when you're in any workshop environment, and appropriate gloves when you're mixing. So let's have a look at the etch primer first. This is the etch primer we currently use here. This is a super etch. A lot of people will use an aerosol type etch primer, which is all good, that's all fine, but when you're doing a full job, you're much better off mixing it yourself. As with most etch primers, it's 1:1 or a 50-50 mixing ratio. Not with a hardener though, that's the key bit. It is with its own dedicated activator. Okay? As with most things, you must refer to the data sheets when you're looking at them, especially with the etch primer, because some etch primers you mix them and you have to leave them half an hour to kind of get to know each other is the best way to describe it before you can start to apply stuff being an epoxy based product. Okay, so that's our etch primer. And the other one we got is our high build primer. Okay, now if we look down on the tin here, it is a high solids. Okay, so it's a high solids primer. They're available in a range of colours, whether it be grey, white or black. Sometimes this will help you as a ground coat also. An important thing with a high solids primer is that you always use a high solids activator or hardener with it in this case. Okay, we use a fast because we don't want to muck around, we want to get the job done. You can get a medium or slow, which is maybe more suitable for commercial applications maybe. Okay, so these are our primers. This also doubles up as a wet on wet. So as I mentioned earlier, what's the first thing we must do before we use any product? We check the data sheets. Information's on the tin, but we check the data sheets. Okay, so over here, store products, anything that you might need, any first aid measures or whatever, if it was ingested or if there was an incident, this is the sheet you would need to refer to. Okay, but as paint refinishers, this is the more well used or the one we use the most. This is our technical material data sheet or technical information sheet. Again, make sure it's the right one. So it's a high solids primer, sanding. So in other words, I'm going to rub it down afterwards. Okay. The other option I've got is the non-sanding version. Okay. In other words, a wet on wet product. First thing we look at, we've got a mixing ratio. Mixing ratios here. For this, as a high solid, 4:1. 30% thinners. Okay, so 4 parts primer, 1 part hardener, HS hardener, and 30% thinner. For the sanding version, exactly the same, 4:1, just half the thinners ratio. Okay, nice and straightforward. Everything else we need on there, gun setup, how to apply it, flash off times, all the rest of it, all on your data sheet. And finally, before we have a look at it, you've got to make sure you've got the right gun. 1.6 RP setup we're going to use today. If you're going to use a DeVille bisc gun maybe or whatever else you're using, you can go up to a 1.9 as long as it's a decent quality primer gun. That's it for now. Several ways of mixing. This is a mixing stick, okay, so I've got an example here. That's a 1:1 ratio mixing stick. I don't know if you can see that there. So it's equal quantities, okay, and on the back maybe, if I can show you, this is a 2:1 mixing stick. 3:1 and 4:1. You kind of get the picture there. So if I pop this in a mixing cup, I'd maybe go up to number 3, depending on the amount I require, and then I follow up to number 3 that would give me the quantity of hardener. Graduated scale on the side, which will give me the quantity of thinners I need. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. But a nice straightforward way, which is what we like to keep it nice and simple. We like to use a mixing pot. Okay. If you look at the side of it, it's got all the graduation marks already. So 2:1 down one side, 3:1, 4:1, and then a basic marker down there. Okay. Now these are great, obviously, because the cup is kind of bigger at the top than it is at the bottom, so it just gives you that level of accuracy which you need. Okay. So that is a mixing cup, not a drinking cup. That is a mixing stick, not a rule or a straight edge. Okay. And the final way is if you go and look at our PC over here. This is a smart scale, and you can mix up any quantity of prime you like. So if you only need a little bit, these are particularly accurate. And as you start to add the product in, it counts its way down. So you kind of get the way of doing it. So I'm going to do it the simple way, which is the way we like, by using a mixing cup, not a drinking cup. Okay. Okay, so we've already looked at our data sheet earlier that said it was 4 to 1. So again, the graduation, you can see there guys, 4 to 1. Okay, I'm just going to mix because I only want a little bit, which is going to give me roughly, I don't know, maybe a tenth, maybe 1.5 of a litre. Okay, so I made sure this has been well stirred today. Okay, now I'm going to go down into here, okay, and just fill it up to the number 4. Are you getting that, Mike? Brilliant, fantastic.
Got it.
Brilliant. And then the hardener, make sure it's the HS hardener that goes with it. HS, high solids? Are we getting it?
Got it.
Good job. Right, 4 to 1. So 4, and then you've got to be a little bit careful because it does come out a little bit fast. So 4, just up to the 1 there, okay? So that's giving me the hard. And then finally, 15% thinners. So 15%, as long as it's a uni thinner, as long as it's a 2K uni thinner, that'll be cool, that's fine. So on the side there, okay, 10. Okay guys, that's about 15% there. Give that a mix, straight into your primer gun, you're ready to go. Good job.